It's been 10 plus years, and that moment still, like I can feel my cheeks get hot. You see the final approach of the torch, and then the flame jumps, and it's one of the moments that I really felt like I'd made it.
The torch lighting, just basically symbolized, okay, all the prep is now done, and it's go time.
I probably first saw the torch being lit something like 1968, Mexico City. I do remember the games in Mexico City, watching it on TV with my parents. I recognize that as the pinnacle of sport, and it was more like the late 70s when I really started to eyeball the Olympic Games as a goal for myself.
There's something really special about marching into the opening ceremonies as part of Team USA and just being so proud and so excited. I think it inspires you to be the best you can be.
Sailing was in the original Olympics, in the first one that was held in 1896. Unfortunately, there was not enough wind to race, but boats were there and countries were there to race. So sailing has been one of the core sports since the beginning.
U.S. sailing became the national governing body of the sport of sailing with an act of Congress that created the U.S. Olympic Committee, which is now the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Committee.
The sailing community in the late 70s, early 80s was an incredibly rich field of talent.
The United States has won 3 gold medals. New Zealand has won 2.
At first, it was a community of sailors with a common interest. We want to be the best in the world and come home with a medal. I campaigned in 84 and 88. 1988 quad was the first quad that the women were added in the 470.
The wind was, 25 to 35 knots. It was the worst sailing conditions in Olympic history.
It was, of course, very exciting to see Lynn and Allison battle hard throughout the series and at the end come home with the gold medal, which was the first time that a women's team had won a gold medal in sailing.
The first females to win a gold medal in sailing were Lynn and Allison. They paved the way for a lot of us females to come after them, so we're very, very grateful for that.
It was a very monumental moment. I think we were used as the example of the platform for the next level and the next level and the next level.
Lynn and Allison brought a new focus to Olympic sailing. They were one of the first teams to really emphasize fitness as part of their winning strategy.
Sailing was introduced into the Paralympics as a test event in 1996 in Atlanta.
It continued on for sailing through 2016.
We've had some pretty exceptional sailors that have performed extraordinarily well. 2 of those being our gold medalists from Qingdao, Nick Scandone and Maureen McKinnon.
Nick Scandone I didn't get the privilege to meet, but his story is told far and wide in disabled sailing.
He was always just so positive and enthusiastic about the sport and gave it his all the time.
Maureen McKinnon, Mo, big role model for me. I have gotten the privilege to sail with Maureen several times. She's an incredible competitor.
When she became hurt and lost the use of her legs, it did not stop her, and she just kept sailing.
She sailed in the 2008 Beijing Games with Nick Scandone in the Scud 18 class.
They were definitely a unique pairing to sail together. Maureen was East Coast based, Nick was West Coast based. Nick was diagnosed with Lou Gehrig's disease, which is, a very debilitating disease that really ravages the body over time. Before we went to China, he called me and he said, "I have 9 days of sailing left in me," which is a pretty blunt statement for someone to make when they're going to a games and they have to race 6 of those days. So we just had to manage his time and schedule.
Maureen was the crew on that boat, and she took home a gold medal for the USA.
Brian McDonald is from the Canadian 2.4 meter team. He's the guy who walked up to me in China the day before it was over And he put out his hand and he said, "Congratulations, Mo, you won the gold." And I said, "Oh, Brian, come on." And he goes, "Don't you think I'm keeping track of the scores, Mo?" I'm like, "Well, yeah." "Really? We did it? Like, we did it? We really did it?" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "You don't even have to sail tomorrow."
She's a great crew, follows direction really well. He was able to apply the tactics and strategy, and they won the gold medal with a day to spare. Sailing was removed from the slate of events for Tokyo.
Withdrawal of sailing in the Paralympics has happened through a clerical error, essentially.
The reason why I understand it was dropped was that we did not have enough countries from all of the 5 continental regions of the world participating.
There was some disagreement between IFDS, the International Foundation for Disabled Sailing, and the IPC on the number of countries that were regularly and widely practicing parasailing worldwide.
That is how it happened. That's it. Number of countries, number of continents. So U.S. Sailing has been supporting the Back the Bid movement, which is to bring back the Paralympics to LA 2028. And I would very much like to be in a position that I would be able to come back and do one more campaign. It would be so cool to do that in my own country, in Los Angeles. Los Angeles is where my gold medal teammate, Nick Scandone, is from. It would just bring everything back full circle.
The next Olympics and Paralympics will be held in Paris in 2024, and then we bring the games back home here to Los Angeles in 2028.
How can you not be excited about Paris? Sailing for the 470, my love. It's the first time it's co-ed, mixed gender.
We've now reached the opportunity to have just as many medals awarded to women as men. We are having foiling classes now in the games. The Formula Kites and the IQ Foil sailboards are both incredibly exciting.
If you don't know, if you haven't foiled before, and if you haven't seen a lot about these classes, I would suggest just learning as much as you can, because once you start learning more and more, they become so interesting, and who doesn't love flying?
I think it's going to be quite exciting.